my name is Teacher Laura. I'm here with a quick tip for how to teach the leveled reading classes on VIPKID. These are pretty new. They were introduced this summer. It's right now it's August of 2019. So they were just introduced the last few months, and I love teaching them. I have some tips. When I first was certified, I went on YouTube to look for tips for how to teach it and didn't find any. So I'm here to help you in case that's what you're looking for too. First of all, teacher shirt. This is made by Teacher Danny on Instagram. If you go to Instagram and follow my page, I talk about my teacher shirts I get from a few fantastic teachers. So if you need a teacher shirt, go check that out. About leveled reading, a couple things. It is a 2-day class. So you may teach both days, you may just teach one, you may teach the second. So be aware that it's a 2-day class. So they read the same story for 2 days. And it has 3 parts each day. Does that make sense? So the first day you have vocabulary, reading, and comprehension. And then the second day you read the same story, the second part of the story, and you have vocabulary, reading, and comprehension. So it's like a 6-piece lesson over 2 days. So be aware that if you get the student for the second day, they've already read part of the story. They know a part of it. It would be helpful for you to have seen the story, but you might not. A cool thing about this kind of class is it has some unique features that I haven't seen before with VIPKID. For one is you have the screen and you have the story. Right on the edge, I'll put in a screenshot here so you can see this. There are these slide-in vocabulary cards. So if you don't look carefully, you might miss them. They're right on the edge of the screen and you have to slide them over, and each one is a vocabulary word. And then on some screens, you slide it over and it's an additional question, comprehension question. So use those throughout the lesson. If they can't remember how to use the word or they don't remember how to pronounce the word, pull it over. I also use these slide-in cards to help with my pacing, which I'll talk about in a minute. Also, another unique feature in this kind of class is it has a matching game. So it'll show like 6 or 8 different cards of the word and the picture, and the kids have to match it. Now, the first couple times my students didn't know what to do with that, so you need to kind of model it. You can do the first couple and show them. Maybe they'll get it right away. It depends. And this features also in some of the trial classes, the new trial classes, so you might have seen this already. So they have the sliding cards and the matching game. Really fun features. I love it. The biggest thing about teaching this class that is different from teaching a major course or a trial class or other supplementary classes is you have to pay attention to your pacing. And you can really vary your pacing based on the need of your student. It's still a 25-minute class, and you still have to get through all the slides. So keep that in mind, and as your student is reading, gauge their reading speed, and with that, think about how fast you need to go for the lesson. So like I said, there's 3 parts. There's the vocabulary, where they learn the words that will come up in the story. There's the reading, where you read and ask questions as you read. And then there's the comprehension. So I would recommend going super fast through the words and really only focusing on the words that they seemed confused about. So fast, then slower, let them read at their pace and ask questions, but save time for the last part, the comprehension. This caught me off guard the first few times I taught. At the end, they have some really simple questions like recall questions, but then they also teach a strategy, and this requires a little bit of time. So I always save, like, if I can, 8 or 9 minutes at the end for the comprehension section, because like the last lesson I taught, I had to teach cause and effect. To me, that's kind of complicated to teach. You have to give examples, so it requires more time than you think. So I try to get through, for example, try to get through the vocabulary in like the first 6 or 7 minutes, okay? Then you have from minutes 7 to like 17 to read, because that is the biggest chunk. You have 10 minutes to read. And then save the last part, minutes 17 to 25, 26, to do the comprehension. That's just the pacing that I try to keep in my mind. Of course, you have best intentions, but then it doesn't always happen. So just do your best, do your best. Like I said with those cards that pull in, this is the time where you can really slow down the lesson or speed it up. If a kid is taking a long time to read the story, don't bother with pulling in the vocabulary words because it'll just slow them down. If the kid speed reads through the whole thing, then you can pull in the cards and be like, let's read this again. Can you give it an example of this word? They're great. I really like that feature because it gives the teacher a lot of control for how you pace the lesson. One more tip, you really don't need a lot of props for these kind of lessons. The props could probably be distracting actually. So all I've used is I have a couple books. These are kind of random books. I have a couple books so I can show the title and the author, in different kind of examples. That's kind of helpful because they show the cover of the book and it's important to show the title and the author. So other than that, I really don't use a lot of props. So to review my tips, careful with your pacing. You don't need a lot of props. Number 3, they need lots of encouragement. This is a lot to read for some students. It might be really challenging their reading endurance, so give them lots of encouragement. I say a lot of things like, you are a really good reader, or wow, you read that whole thing, yay! It's things like that. I think they really make a difference with a student. You can kind of watch a student come alive when you really encourage them. So those are my tips for the leveled reading. It's a really, really fun supplementary class, and I've taught a lot of them in August, so I really recommend getting your certification. Give it a try and tell me what you think in the comments. All right, thanks. Goodbye.